You promise yourself you will not look. You scroll past the headline anyway. You click on the comment section you knew would be a disaster before you even opened it. Some part of you knew this would not make you feel good, and you went looking for it anyway. This is not a character flaw. This is not proof that you secretly enjoy other people's misery. What is actually happening is one of the strangest, most misunderstood features of the human brain, and once you see it clearly, you will recognize it everywhere. Here is what nobody tells you about drama. Your brain does not seek it out because it enjoys conflict. It seeks it out because conflict was once the single most important category of information a human being could possess. Consider what drama actually represents at its core. Two people disagreeing, a betrayal, a shift in power, a broken alliance. For nearly the entire span of human history, this kind of information was not gossip. It was intelligence. In a small group of perhaps 50 to 150 people, where your survival depended entirely on who trusted whom, knowing exactly where the fault lines in your social world were located could be the difference between staying protected and being blindsided. The psychologist Robin Dunbar, famous for his research on social group size, proposed something that initially sounds almost absurd. He argued that gossip itself evolved as a replacement for grooming behavior in primates, a way of maintaining social bonds and tracking alliances across a group too large to physically groom every member. Talking about other people, who did what to whom, who can be trusted, who cannot, was not a distraction from survival. It was a survival tool refined over millions of years. This explains something deeply strange about your nervous system. Drama activates almost the exact same attentional system as physical danger. The amygdala, the small almond-shaped structure responsible for rapid threat detection, lights up not only when you see a predator, but when you witness social conflict. Researchers studying social cognition have found that the brain treats a status threat, someone being humiliated, excluded, or betrayed, with a startling amount of the same urgency reserved for physical harm. Your ancestors who paid close attention to social conflict were the ones who could predict who might turn on them next. Now consider something the psychologist Roy Baumeister documented clearly in his research on the negativity bias. Negative information across every domain studied is processed more thoroughly, remembered more vividly, and weighted more heavily than positive information of equal magnitude. A single piece of dramatic, negative social information can outcompete dozens of mundane, positive ones for your attention. This is not because you are a bad person. It is because, for your ancestors, missing a piece of good news rarely killed anyone. Missing a brewing betrayal sometimes did. There is a second mechanism layered on top of this, one rooted not in threat detection but in something almost the opposite, connection itself. Watching or discussing drama, even drama that has nothing directly to do with you, can simulate the feeling of social inclusion. You are, in a strange way, participating in a shared narrative with whoever else is also watching, reacting, or discussing it. The anthropologist and primatologist Franz de Waal documented extensively how social animals, humans very much included, derive genuine social bonding from shared emotional reactions to a third party's conflict. Two people bonding over their shared disapproval of someone else's behavior is, neurologically, a real form of connection, however uncomfortable that might be to admit. This is why celebrity scandals, reality television, and online controversies generate such disproportionate engagement compared to almost any other category of content. They are not simply entertaining. They are activating an ancient circuit that says pay attention. This involves social standing, alliances, and trust, exactly the categories of information your brain was built across millions of years to prioritize above almost everything else. Modern media did not invent this hunger. It simply discovered how to manufacture an endless supply of the exact stimulus your brain was built to crave. Where your ancestors might encounter one or two significant social conflicts worth tracking in a month, you can now encounter dozens before breakfast, each one expertly framed, each one engineered by algorithms that learned, through sheer trial and error across billions of users, precisely which combination of betrayal, conflict, and moral outrage keeps a human nervous system locked in place. None of this means you are powerless in front of it, or that caring about social information is somehow shameful. The instinct itself was, for most of human history, a genuinely sophisticated survival tool. But the instinct evolved for a world with one tribe, not 8 billion strangers broadcasting their worst moments simultaneously 24 hours a day. Understanding this does not make the pull disappear instantly. But it does change what is happening the next time you feel that unmistakable tug toward an argument that has nothing to do with you. You are not weak, and you are not secretly cruel. You are running an ancient alliance tracking system in an environment that has scaled the input 1,000,000 times beyond anything it was ever built to process. The drama was never really the point. The point was always knowing where you stood. The question worth asking is not why you are drawn to it. The question worth asking is whether, in this particular case, it is information you actually need.